In evaluating iPastels, I'm looking at some of the artifacts and some of the data that I'm interpreting from the lesson that I planned with 3 fifth grade students. iPastels was a great tool for the classroom. A couple reasons: it's free, it's portable, it's user-friendly, there was a fast learning curve, it simulates chalk and oil pastels. It's a great classroom center idea, especially on days where maybe there's some free time where people could pair up together. The artwork is easy to save, share, and export. Students seemed to like it and found it entertaining. Students could pair into groups, they can share, collaborate, and co-create. There's less mess than oil and chalk, and mistakes can be easily changed. Students can zoom in for detailed work, and it promotes the 4Cs in the classroom: creativity, critical thinking, collaboration, and communication. So in the first bit of this activity, I had students brainstorm. And here's a picture of Henry, Jack, Leela writing down ideas while Lucy sketching them on iPastels. And this brainstorming included critical thinking, collaboration, and communication. I would even argue that there was creativity because there was drawing going on as well, just to kind of get those sketch ideas out. And people using this were able to create these light and medium and dark tones and understand how light casts shadows and kind of that medium tone is created. So it was a great tool for that. And as you can see, Henry's using the tools on iPastels for blending. Up in the top left-hand corner, there's an eraser, there's a Q-tip, there's also a finger that you can use for blending, and they're right up here. And then what was great was these final sketches were a great way before they started working on their final draft paper. Or not final draft paper, but their final paper. And it just kind of eliminated those mistakes that sometimes happen where they could kind of get their ideas out on the sketch pad and then use that actually for their final work. And in this next scene, that's exactly what Leela's doing. She's using her sketch to help her render her snow person for her final drawing. And it was just a great way to kind of create this collaborative project where these 3 students worked together to come up with an idea for their ideal day. And they chose a snow day because there was no school. So they really worked hard together to actually help each other with light and dark and orientation. And it was interesting to watch. There were some limitations, and I'm kind of thinking ahead a little bit of some of those limitations that might be in the classroom too. Not all students are interested in art, and sometimes, especially when you have technology, it's hard. There's that temptation for students to be motivated to other tech that's on the iPad, whether it's another app. And sometimes this app was a little finicky. With one touch, students were zooming or creating new drawings, and so that created a little bit of frustration. It was something that was easily fixed. However, that it may take a teacher to come in and kind of show them how to get back to the work that they were working on or how to zoom out. Again, little things that were easily fixed, but it might cause a distraction or two in teaching. And also, can the classrooms accommodate students with iPads? How many iPads would a classroom have? And this particular lesson, from the time of brainstorming to completion, was about 2.5 hours. So I'm thinking it might be equivalent to about 3 class periods. So you could kind of separate it into maybe a day of brainstorming, and they could start sketching on the iPad, and then another day of just sketching completely on the iPad and then saving that work, and then the last class period, and that may take 2 more class periods to do their final drawing. In the end, iPastels, is technology and not the real thing. The art was a little bit lost in translation. What I mean by that is that there was a little bit of a Photoshop, especially if we go back to the cupcake here. It just, there was just something about it that when they used the oil pastels, I think chalk pastels would probably be more true to this, but I think with the oil pastels, there's just a little bit, there was a little bit of difference. And even the students would recognize it. They're like, gosh, it looked so good on iPastels, but my final drawing wasn't as good. And then some of the things with time management, and I think you have this in all classrooms, but in this particular collaborative project, some students took their time while others were interested in just kind of completing it so that they could move on to the next thing. And you can see in this particular room, there were chairs with rolly that you could kind of roll around on this flat surface. So that proved to be a good time. So I do think, like with all projects probably that you have in your classroom, you have to figure out something for students to do who finish early. And here's what I was talking about, the difference. I still think this turned out really, really well. You can see they chose to put the sunlight in the left. And so you can see how this is lighter. And then on this side, excuse me, it's dark from the shadow.